Strategy, strategy, strategy. Are you good at strategy? If so, you're going to love this race. Welcome back to the GT World Series. I've got a secret tyre telemetry here to really help us out. It's a Nations Cup. Going to start with qualifying. You see we put on provisional pole here. And I'm going to guide you through this race. It's the most obscenely strategic race I've ever been a part of in Gran Turismo 7. So we started on provisional pole and we were going quick on our last lap here, but just get a track limit on the outside. And you can see here it's going to flash up with the penalty. So we are going to start this race in 4th place. I'm going to guide you through because it's a crazy race. If you love strategy, you're going to love this race. This, by the way, is my quest to see definitively how fast I am in the UK. I go into this race as the 26th fastest driver. This is round 2 at Fuji. Round 1 was at Spa and we did really well. And here we can do even better because we're starting in 4th place. And you can see here the tyre telemetry mod that I've got at the top for you to look at. Have a look at the front left tyre here. It's going to take a pounding. It's a 30 lap race. So it's a very long race, almost an hour long again, I think. You see here a little bit argy-bargy going into turn 1. And you have to use a soft tyre, you have to do medium tyres. The strat I went into this race trying to do was to go on the soft tyres to about lap 12 or 13 and go on the mediums to the rest of the way, basically do a 1-stop. But we had the option of converting that to a 2-stop if we felt like that was better. So a 2-stop would be coming around lap 10, do mediums for about 10 laps, and then go on a softs from lap 20. So either a 1-stop or 2-stop. It seems like the 1-stop is faster, spend less time in the pits, but I really struggled here to control the tyre temperatures, and it's very illuminating. I've got a video coming where I'm going to uncover some genuine secrets of the tyre model Gran Turismo 7, because you can see here that when you get heat into the tyres, it's very, a bit of contact there, it takes a very long time to actually get that heat out of the tyre. So you end up compounding heat in the tyre, and so a linear amount of heat going into the tyre results in exponential tyre wear, which is, I think, caught a lot of people out here, including World Tour drivers. But with our telemetry, you can see that. I'm going to dive up the inside here on lap 1. Have a look at the radar right now. You can see, if I recall, he just sort of loses it, and we actually save him. We're his saviour. He oversteers into us, and we're going to crack on. So lap 1 is done. Lap times wise on the soft tyres, if we can do 131s, that would be great. Solid 132s, that's going to be very solid. We don't want to be in the 133s. I go defensive here, and then we're sort of squeezing back to the outside. Go try and do it on the brakes, yes we can, against the Ukrainian driver. And we're feeling pretty good at this point in time. Qualifying P4 at Fuji, this is my weakest track, probably in the game. The last sector here is an abomination. So to get on P4 boded very well. But the important thing here about strategy is I ran through the strategy options. Those strategy options are available for every driver, and you can slice and dice it different ways. So you can have people that are going to be starting on the softs like we are, people starting on the mediums, people going for a short soft stint, people going for a long soft stint, likewise on the mediums. And so you don't really know who you're up against. The drivers ahead, at this stage, we don't know whether they're on the soft or the medium tyre. If they're on the soft tyre, this is great news for us because it looks like we've got really good pace. If they're on the medium tyre, it's not such great news because we should be catching them because they're on the medium. So you can see at this point in time, we are catching the drivers ahead. And it's a good feeling when you're catching anyway. Psychologically, by the way, if you're thinking what strategy to start a race like this, an endurance race, think about what mentality you want from the start of the race. You can see here on the soft tyres, I was able to overtake that guy in the last corner. Whereas if I was on the medium tyres, I might have to bide my way. That's given me a lot of good energy. I feel like I'm on the front foot. So you can see here I'm in the slipstream. Probably going to be too far away, but you never know. It's such a powerful slipstream, setting the fastest lap of the race there as well, which might indicate that there's a lot of drivers around on the medium tyre. Now, if there's drivers around on the medium tyre, it's genuinely really concerning because they don't need to kind of fight me or anything. They can actually just let me go because they're in a different race at the moment. Hitting the purple sector again there. We're going to see if we can overtake this car ahead of us or to lies. Now, it turns out this guy is a very, very, very fast driver. Let me know, do you think, or don't even let me know, you don't need to have a think, do you think these drivers are on the soft or the medium tyre? Because that's important relative to my pace. That guy going very wide there. Don't know if he's going to pick up a penalty. Pick up a penalty, is he? No, he isn't, and we're okay behind. Quite a big gap to the Ukraine driver. This sector here, my least favourite sector in the world, I was actually quite hot on in the soft tyres in this race. You can see here really trying to get on the power early, not being afraid of getting over the curbs. You need to get all of these curbs. They will try and spin you out, they'll try and chew you up, but you have to get over them. And what can we do a similar move on P2 here? Let's see. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, please for me, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm just an individual guy doing this in this loft, trying to entertain you, trying to inform you, trying to offer value. See, I was very happy here in the camera. And now we're going to crack on and try and get into the leader. You can see here I'm checking the fuel. I know that we've just completed 3 laps, which is 10% of the race. We should have 10% of the fuel, which we do have. Under attack here from 2 drivers early on in the race. I go to the inside. We'll try and battle them. We'll try and be good on the brakes. Again, on the fastest possible compound. And we're able to get it done and keep them at bay. So the idea is now, can we get ahead of these guys? You can think about that, go defensive again. We're going to try and shoot through this corner. Very difficult corner here, especially the faster cars you're in. Almost gets exponentially difficult. And we'll zoom ahead here because we're going to try and get into the leader. Psychologically, again, this is a huge moment if we can actually overtake this guy. Remember, we're trying to be as high as we can go in the UK. You can see the next UK drivers is in P8. This is a very fast lobby, massive points on offer. Potentially we can go in the top 20 if we win this race. You see he's really struggling there, which makes me question whether he's on the soft tyres or the medium tyres. And we'll try and do a nice little cut back. Can't quite do the cut back, but we'll be able to overtake him very easily. Are you looking at the tyre temperatures, by the way? Have a look at that front left. Like I said, 81 degrees going down to 80, but very hard to shake the temperature in that tyre. Once the compound heats up in Gran Turismo these days, it really retains the temperature. It is dipping, but we're just going to have an onslaught of left-handers now coming into turn 1. Look how much the tyre temperatures heat as you just sort of go around these corners. We'll see in the next one as well, because the next one can be brutal on the tyres. I was actually very careful about taking a different route through the corners. So this one here you can look at throughout the race and see what happens with those tyre temperatures. See, you're heating up there massively. We've overheated it. So if you can avoid doing that, then you're going to be basically reaping the rewards later on in the stint. Now we come on to lap 10 here, and I was actually doing quite well, but now we have a big moment of drama where everything changes, and I'd like to know what you would do in the situation. We go a little bit deep, and I'm greedy, and I get on the curb. So from going from first place about a second ahead, we have to reverse as quick as we can and get going. Now the tyre temp shot up there. If you have a look through in the middle of that half spin, the tyre temps went super high, and we're now 7 seconds behind. So we've lost about 8 seconds in the race. And in this level, if you lose 8 seconds, you're not going to get 8 seconds back for free. That's just the reality. So I had to make a decision here. Like I said, the strat A, the main strat, was we were going to do a one-stop and we were going to try and take these tyres to lap 12 or even lap 13. But given that spin and my concern about the tyre temps, see the tyre temp super high now, I decided to, at this point I was really thinking, look, we should box. So I think by this point I decided to box. And this is a very controversial decision because it's going to commit us basically to a two-stop, because we're going to go on these mediums too early. We won't be able to make these mediums last to the end of the race. Whereas if I was able to go one more lap, I think here I could have decided to go on keep my options open by going one more lap. You can look at the tyre wear, but I think also because of that spin I just wanted to reset things. I'd lost my rhythm anyway. You can actually, last 2 lap times were 133s. So 133s are something that I can do on the medium tyre. So we decided to come in for the pits, very controversial, and we'll see where we're going to come out because it can be quite brutal. So go in, put those medium tyres on. You can see the Icon soft tyres. I was really frustrated myself, really frustrated, but I want to just cool down. Pits was a good place to do that. And see, we come out in P12. So we were winning this race, and in an ideal world we would still be out there in the lead. But we've come out in P12. And good to know, if you think about it, we were about 7 seconds behind, and we've come out 25 seconds behind. So that's about an 18-second pit loss. Now, I didn't really have the composure in this race to kind of recollect that, but we know now that it's about an 18-second pit loss. By the way, I was streaming this race, and I had an amazing pit crew in chat that were updating me all the time on the tyre temperatures, on the gaps, when to push, when not to push. So it's very much a team effort. At the moment, I'm streaming Gran Turismo pretty much every day. In fact, if you've never seen me stream Gran Turismo, but you've watched lots of videos, let me know in the comments, because I want to know if there's like separate communities there. Now, what we needed to do on the medium tyres was really sort of get heating tyres initially, then try not to overheat the left front. So we're lucky we have the telemetry to be able to see this. See, there was a yellow flag here. S13 Berlin Racing, that might have been, I don't know. They started with us near the front, I believe. So they've also had a massive fall from grace. And we need to see people pit, because there might be people pitting now. So you see the different icons here? The icon changes during the pit. So these people are about to exit the pits. It will show the tyre. So difficult to say, but we've gone from P12 to P9. You can see DJ. Those two drivers look like they're coming out on the medium tyres. So they're doing that one-stop strategy. So it'll be interesting to see now. They're going on the mediums to the end, and we have a 2-second buffer or so. By the time we come in and do our second stop, what's that gap like? Are we going to drop behind? Are we going to be able to catch up? So going again, getting another position from someone in the pits. So up now to P8, 19 seconds off the lead. So things aren't quite looking as bad as they were before, although it's pretty clear now that those two drivers in first and second are on the medium tyre. So that calls into question our pace. It doesn't say we were doing bad pace, because we did have the fastest lap, people on the softs, but it was not quite as otherworldly as it was not like blowing away the field. We were on a faster compound, so we should be trying to overtake. But they're 19 seconds up the road now. Those medium tyres for them should be well past their sell-by date, and for them it's a matter of time now until they want to just unleash on the softs at a time when they know they're going to have enough soft tyres by the end of the race. So coming in here through sector, let me just zoom this out there with me so I can see, and really trying to push. Again, we should see a lot of people pit. We've pitted. We were probably one of the first people to pit in this race. So strategy-wise, and in the way it's sort of concertinas, we should really start to reap the benefits of that strategy very soon, because everyone else is going to pit after us, and we should be able to catch up. So let's see here. You can see this guy, the leader, has pitted off the medium tyre. See, their fuel is very similar, and I think they're very good on fuel. I think they're better on fuel than I was. We didn't take any fuel in that pit stop. So we'll see if we're going to overtake. Have a look on the pit exit. There is the French driver coming out. There he is. So he's coming out on the soft tyre. Now, I need to sort of compute this in my head, because this is really bad news. Because he's going on the softs till the end, and we're on the mediums to the end. So even if we were able to go, to the end of these medium tyres, which I don't think we can, we're still at a disadvantage now to the end of the race, because he's on the soft tyre. So he's really done a bit. I need to work this out. He's done a much better job. We've both pitted once, and I've been on the softs more than he has, and he's come out ahead of me. So now you could say we had that spin where we lost about, did we say 7 seconds? So we hadn't lost 7 seconds, we'd be out 5 seconds ahead of him. That's a slightly different ball game. Now, looking at the lap times here, you can see we were on the 133s, and we won the 133s when we came in. I think the difference between the tyres was actually more marginal than I appreciated. So like I said, if you're a strategy buff, you're going to love this race. There's so much strategy. But in hindsight, I don't think there was that big a gap between the mediums and the softs. And then, you see the Frenchman goes round here. He does gather it up quickly, but again, shows how difficult it can be. So he's dropped behind. So again, we would be well up the road. We would be 8 seconds ahead of him now, if we hadn't had that spin. But you can just see the strategy here is kind of crazy. More people in the pits. Are we going to inherit more positions? Look at that front left tyre now, really overheating. But my point I was trying to make there is, in hindsight, the opportunity to get on the soft tyre is not going to present that much, I think, unless we can absolutely shred it on the soft tyres. Because if we're doing low 133s now on the mediums, then I don't know. We're doing high 131s at best on the softs. So there's about call it a 1.5 gap. So it's difficult though, isn't it? A 1.5 gap over 10 laps can be 15 seconds. But we said earlier that the pit loss is 17 seconds. So that would sort of equalise it out, and I don't. There's no way I'm going to be able to drive, I think, with a 1.5 second advantage on the soft tyres. But that's just what we've got to do. We did have a very good stint earlier on soft tyres, and we will be light on fuel later. So you can see now we're in P3. That guy, French guy behind us, has really caught up. So, you know, I don't know how much he's caught us a lap, but that soft to medium differential for him is really working, and it is at its maximum at the beginning. That's when you can really push and go for those 31s. But that gap will just sort of get smaller and smaller as the soft tyres wear. So I decided not to fight him here. No point. And I said we'll see if we can follow him. Oh, in fact, looks like I might be heading into the pits. So I've decided here that we're not going to be able to do the one stop. Really critical moment that, because we were neck and neck with that driver. And I could have decided to just stay on the medium tyre, but I think literally because he was there, I thought I may as well go into the unknown. You can see I felt like we were a little bit short on fuel here. I think we're about 1% short on fuel, so I do refuel. We'll see whether that makes sense in the lap. Let's see how much time you lose fueling. Sometimes you have an extra animation, you lose time. So you can lose a couple of seconds there. We're going to come out, oh my word, in P12. I remember coming out in P12 and thinking, this is really, really, really bad. This is really bad. Now, if we play the kind of predictions, that the forecast that we've just talked about, even if for the next 10 laps we could be 1.5 seconds a lap quicker, so we could do, you know, high 131s whilst other people are doing in the, you know, low 133s, then that would still put us 10% short at the end of the race, assuming people ahead don't have to pit. And we know the guy in P3 doesn't have to pit. So that pit stop has taken us from, I guess we would have been in P4 down to P12. It's sort of flipped the table because we now need to overtake where other people would have needed to overtake us. So I needed to absolutely drop the hammer here. And as you're going to see, I'm really, really, really going to push it. Stuff does come our way. This is a very important race here because it's my last race of the night. This is it for points. We're trying to really see just how fast we can be in the UK. And let's see what the tyres are like here. We're on the soft tyres, we're on the fastest possible compound. Should potentially be the fastest man on track. The irony is that we've done 2 stops where I think we could have got to this point maybe just on the mediums alone if we started on the mediums. So again, that's a psychology thing. If we started on the mediums we could have got here. Would we have lost a whole pit stop? I don't think so. I don't think so. Now we do get a couple of positions here. This is promising, and we can see now that the gap is 5.8 seconds. So I'm going to push like absolute hell, trying to catch on. We've got maximum grip, and it does help in these Group 2 cars because the Group 2 cars are so aero reliant. So when you have that grip, you can actually lean on the aero. Going to go past the pits here for lap 27. So that means there's 4 laps to go in P10. Let me just see where we are in the race, and trying to hunt down this Finnish driver. We need stuff to start. The thing is, I said an average of 1.5 seconds, but if the tyres fall off the cliff for people, and we did do a 131 there. We did a 132.1, 131.9, 132.0, 132.2, and we've just gone purple. So we are sort of keeping our end of the bargain, I would say. If there are people struggling and doing stuff like 134s, then that's going to be a 2-second a lap differential. And potentially we can get something. And you can see this guy here, this Finnish guy, his tyres seem absolutely cooked. So maybe we are going to run into people that don't have treading tyres. Now, don't forget about our tyres as well, because the more I'm pushing now, the more I'm putting heat into my tyres. You can see, I think 85 degrees, that's really not going to come down very much, even on the straight. So we are struggling big time now. It's got a moth on my face. Very nice. Thank you very much. You have a like and subscribe to give, Mr. Moth. You see we're coming around the last corner here. I had to really, really, really push it. Let's zoom it forward. I'm going to go over for lap 29. There's going to be 2 laps to go, and you can see someone diving into the pits now, and the gap is now under 4 seconds. So we need to desperately push. We're in P8. Can we pick up any positions? You know, there might still be mistakes. That's it. Oh, there is. In fact, there is a yellow flag here. Someone's off. It's this Berlin Racing again, who I don't know how he got up because I pitted again. He might have stayed out and struggled on that medium tyre. That is another concern. But look at our left front now, 84 degrees. Look at the wear down there. The fuel as well looks marginal, so I'm having to push like crazy. And and we're going to go on to the last lap here, and ultimately we just kind of fell off. And you can see me pointing around. What I'd realised by this point is that there was a lot for us to be happy with. A lot of our pace was actually really good pace, but ultimately there's two things that cost us. Firstly, we didn't have the pace to compete with the drivers 1, 2 and 3 when they were on the mediums at the beginning. And secondly, we have the 7-second spin. Now if you take away the 7-second spin, we definitely could have battled for P4, and we could have got points at P4. We could have got 220 points. As it is, I think we take the 190, and that puts us 36 in the UK. So we're still in the top 40. But what it's actually done is it's still retaining our score from the first round, because it's going to keep some drop scores. So we are P36 in the UK. Can we keep this going? Let me know if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you've got any ideas, any thoughts. I really hope you're enjoying this series. This is episode 2. Episode 3 is going to be mad. It's Super Formula at Deep Forest. It's going to be sweaty. It's going to be crazy. What can we do? I hope you can join us there. Thanks so much for watching this video. I will see you next time.